So hello, everybody. This is our restorative class. And I wanted to share with you some information that came across my desk this weekend. It was a study about 70-year-old men. And seeing as I live with a 70-year-old man, I was interested to find out what this study was about. It was how to, or what are the predictive factors of being more youthful, more mobile, less pain, more vital as a 70-year-old man. Well, one of the first things they looked at was athleticism in youth. And people who were athletic, like in high school, they tended to be more mobile and more participative in life as a 70-year-old male. But what if we were never athletic in high school? That was me, not athletic at all. What were some other things? And they looked at the openness to new experiences and the willingness to engage in fresh activities was really paramount in being vital and youthful as a 70-year-old. But also they looked at breathing. And this is where our yoga class comes in. They looked at the functionality of the breath mechanisms in the body, and on average, older adults do not utilize their whole lung capacity. They tend to have a lot of dysfunction in their breathing. Some of this comes from mechanics, some of it comes from posture and that sort of thing. Some of it comes from emotion, stress, thoughts. Yoga is brilliant at helping people recognize where they are with their breath and what to do about coming into a fuller, more natural breath. And that's going to be our whole focus tonight in our restorative class. And if we needed any extra incentive to practice restorative yoga or yoga in general, you might think about this new research that's come out to suggest that as you age towards 70 years old, you could be part of the cohort that's more active, more youthful, more vital, and enjoying life, rather than the half of the cohort that is towards the other end of the spectrum. And one of the key building blocks is this awareness of breath, this releasing into natural breath, having fuller engagement with the breath. So can I invite you to lie down? You can take constructed rest if you like on your mat. So that's lying on your back, knees bent. You can have a small pillow to support your head, but try to keep it pretty neutral towards the ground. You can also widen your feet apart from each other, let your knees flop in a little bit, and put a pillow or folded blanket between your knees. If you have a yoga block, that works as well, but something for your knees to kind of flop into and touch. This has a little benefit of helping your legs relax a bit more maybe. So coming into constructed rest, your particular version, and I'd like to read to you something as you get kind of set up here. And a lot of tonight's work on relaxing into the natural breath through restorative yoga comes from one of my teachers, Jillian Pransky. So slowly slide your mind through your body and notice where your body meets the ground. On each out breath, let your weight drop down into the ground. Let the earth hold you. There's no need to grip or to clench or to prop yourself anywhere. Let your body land on the ground. And allow your breath to fill your body. The ground holds you so your breath can fill you. So feel the earth holding you. Let your body land completely. There's nothing to do here, nothing to get. You're done. There's no more work now. And notice how you feel landing on the ground. We are learning to allow the ground to carry us. And we are learning to allow our body to be on the earth. You don't have to hold everything up. Let the earth hold you. Part of the research reflected how important it was for us to be able to kind of twist our imaginations around and see things from new perspectives. So From this landing on the earth position, I'm going to invite you to use your imagination for a minute. Take a snapshot of yourself as you are positioned on the ground right now. Notice the positioning of your body, the facial expression. Notice how you let your hands relax or not. And then notice the movement of your belly or chest as you breathe, just as you naturally breathe. Are you able now to bring into your imagination a time when you did feel particularly grounded, at ease, or at rest? Any time that you can think of in your life experience where you felt steady, in control, patient, safe, relaxed. And if there's nothing that comes to mind, you just can't remember ever feeling that way, can you picture a character in a book or in a TV show you like, or something that just pops into your imagination unbidden right now, a way if they were relaxed or grounded or at ease? And then in your imagination, in this image that brings to mind to you the feelings of being at ease and at peace and feeling grounded, look at the environment in the image. What's the lighting like? What are some of the objects surrounding you? What is under your body? Are you directly on the earth in this image, or is there some sort of flooring? And then what is the facial expression when you or the character in your imagination, what's the facial expression? The posture. What do you think it feels like when a being is grounded, relaxed, at ease? And then you can mentally kind of compare how you came into class today, how that body posture, environment, facial expression, how all that compares to at ease, grounded, feeling safe. What's the difference? And then you can consciously kind of set an intention if you want to. I would like to feel more grounded. I would like to feel more at ease and at peace. I would like to create an environment in which my body can find its natural breath without clenching or resisting. Holding on to this sense of, at ease, softness, start to roll over to your side and find a comfortable seat. Many of us will be much more comfortable sitting on a chair or a couch. So please don't feel pressure to sit on the floor yogi style. Find a way to sit that works for you today in this moment. And then when you find a seat, be comfortable. Align your spine so it's fairly upright, but there's not a lot of stress or effort to hold yourself up. Your eyes can be open and just looking down at the floor, or else you can close your eyes all the way if you like. Just going to do a little brief meditation here. We've done this together before. Take a few breaths in, but really focus on your exhales, letting them be fairly lengthy in comparison. On the exhales, let your body sink toward the ground a little bit more. I'm going to invite you to use your imagination again. And this time picture an hourglass, the sands of the hourglass. Imagine the hourglass was just flipped upside down and it's emptying from the top to the bottom. Flip the hourglass over again. So the full top emptying to the bottom, and see if you can superimpose that on your body, like your body is the hourglass, and let the sand drain out of your upper body and down into your lower body. And then you can flip the hourglass again, and let's drain the sand over 3 exhales. So inhale. And as you exhale, let all the heaviness empty from your head and neck and shoulders. Now enjoy your inhale. And exhale, feel the solidity draining from your shoulders and chest down into your belly. Soften your belly to receive the inhale. And on the last exhale, allow all the sandiness to leave your belly and flow down into your pelvis and legs and feet. You can feel your seat, your whole lower body expanding out into its outline. And your body lands on the ground completely. May I now invite you to place one of your hands near your heart and one on your belly. Notice the feeling of your body moving under your hands as you breathe. Your hands, your very sensitive palms, are reading your body. Your hands riding the swells and dips of your natural breath. And I know repeatedly we become pulled away from this contemplation of our breath. Each time you notice you've drifted away, no big deal. Simply invite your attention kindly back to your hands as they read the movement of your breath. We land on the ground in order to allow the breath. And then to close this meditation, welcome yourself here on the ground and welcome your breath. Slowly let your eyes open if they were closed, and make your way over to a table pose. So you could have hands and knees on the floor, or you can have your hands on a chair or a couch, and that way you can stand on your feet, not your knees. So comfortable table pose. And start to come into some undulations of the spine, cat-cow pose. So inhale, extend your spine, your chest lifts, and exhale, round out your back like a cat, belly tucking up. Good. So make this a little less effortful than you started. Watch too much movement with the head. Try to keep more movement around the spaces where you were reading the breath a moment ago. And as you move in and out, as you undulate with your breath, consider this. Our breath literally moves us, even when we are at rest. As we inhale, our front spine naturally unfurls and the chest opens and expands. Can you explore that on your inhale? Your spine unfurling and chest opening and expanding. And as we exhale, the spine naturally curls in, it retracts. And when we are relaxed, our spine will ripple with the breath, the way an underwater sea plant is fluidly moved by the tide. So does that little bit of imagery help? A fluid underwater sea plant. Is your spine like the stem of one of those plants? Try 2 more breaths, being fluid and soft and movable like an underwater plant. And then coming into child's pose. Now, if being on your knees in child's pose isn't very comfortable, Sit on your couch or your chair, widen your knees, and let your head drop down between your knees. So you want to be comfortable here for the next couple breaths. So take a variation of child's pose that works for your body. And then remind yourself, we are learning to let our breath arrive in our body. We are learning to be with our breath as it flows. And we are practicing both moving along with our breath and also allowing ourselves to be moved by our breath as it actually is happening. So enjoy a few longer, deeper breaths here in your child's pose. And notice what is happening around you in your immediate space in this moment. Listen carefully. Can you hear any sounds? Can you see anything? Even if you're looking at the floor, what do you notice? And in your child's pose, can you shift your attention inward as you continue to be aware of your breath, asking yourself, what do I feel like right now? What does my body feel like? What's my energy level or my mood, my mental state? Keeping about 50% of your attention on your breath and how you feel, expand your awareness back out into the space around you, listening again, seeing again. And notice what it's like to be you as you are in this living moment as it is happening. And then when you're ready, come up from your child's pose and gradually make your way to a standing position. And let me just briefly show that if you're exhausted tonight, and a lot of people come to restorative yoga because they've had a really rough day and they're tired and they don't really want to do warrior two. So that's the pose I was going to suggest. But here's an alternative that you can do on the chair that's not so physically taxing, and you can follow along with us from here. So just so you know, there's an alternative to what we're doing if standing doesn't work. And this is the only standing pose of our series. So I think most of us are familiar with warrior two. Let's find a version of the pose that's really easy for you to hold for a couple seconds and that you won't be so distracted by, straining your body that you can't do anything else. So find your warrior two. Pause for a few exhales. Notice how your body is connected to the ground through your feet. Remember, we did that hourglass meditation. You might take 3 breaths now, letting the sand go from the crown to the shoulders on one exhale, shoulders to the belly on the second exhale. And then on the third exhale, the sand going from the belly down to your feet into the ground. So you can really feel where you're connected to the earth. Mentally scan your face and then open to your whole body, noticing the areas of habitual tension. Do your best to release any squinting around the eyes, across the forehead or out to the temples. Let your jaw dangle. There's no need to grip anywhere in your head or your neck or your shoulders. Everything drains down your torso, down into your belly, and lands on your feet to the ground. Take one more breath on this side, and then slowly switch sides, bending the other knee in your warrior two pose. Once you're set up on the other side in warrior two, take maybe 3 exhales, the sands and the hourglass settling. So your feet begin to truly ground into the earth and you're releasing obvious tension. Now imagine that you're on a beach. I love this imagination. It's a calm day and you're watching the gentle ocean waves rise and fall. And just like the ocean, each wave of the breath fluidly comes and goes in and out all on its own. And right now, the breath to flow on its own as we witness it without expectation. warrior two pose. Back, you can have to support your spine if you like. You can come back to constructed rest, which was the posture we started the class with today. Anything that's comfortable for you for just a few breaths here. We're still trying to discover the breath as it unfolds, trying to familiarize ourselves ever more intimately with what your natural breath is in this moment. So for a little bit more support in staying present with your breath, you can add a mental mantra. You can silently chant for the length of your inhale, something like flowing in, and for the duration of your exhale, flowing out. We're experiencing, we're living the waves of breath, flowing in and flowing out. Like a raft on a wave, let your mind rest on the flow of your breath. Stay with your breath. Your attention will repeatedly drift away from your breath. That is the nature of us human beings, and that's absolutely okay. Simply return to greet your breath, to allow and welcome your breath into your body over and over and over. And then when you're ready, slowly roll over to your side and try to bring some of this softness, some of this willingness to try new things with you as you come up to a seated position. The next posture I was going to suggest that we inhabit is a face down posture, belly down posture. There may be reasons that that doesn't work for you. Maybe you just had a big steak dinner or there's something going on. You can experience everything that we're about to do from that constructed rest position, the upward facing position, if you don't want to come with us into the surfboard position. So this is a little bit of setup in order to keep us comfortable. So, we often use this long fold rectangle, just a brief little reminder of how to create this shape. If you have a blanket with a fringe, fold it once, keeping the fringe together, and then keep folding the blanket a couple more times to create a long rectangle. So that's one blanket. We're going to place that vertically along your mat, the same length as your mat. You may want to have more blankets underneath you. If you're on a hard surface, you might want to have a stack of blankets underneath you. Then the other blanket, we're going to open it up from the long fold so it's not quite so narrow a rectangle. So this is the way the blanket started with the two fringes together. And then I'm just going to fold it once instead of twice more. So I've got a more open rectangle. Then I'm going to take this and roll it. I'm creating a small bolster. See that? I've got a long little tube here. I'm going to place that at the end of my mat. So you can have more blankets here to keep your belly and chest padded more. And you can use pillows and that sort of thing underneath your ankles instead of the rolled blanket if you need to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down onto the floor. And I know my body shape a little bit. So I'm just going to take this bottom part of the long fold blanket, fold it up. This is going to go right underneath my pelvis. Give them my bumper bones at the front of my pelvis a little extra padding. It also creates a little depression here so that my Buddha love has somewhere to go. Just makes it a little bit more comfortable. So if you can, Align yourself now so that your pelvis is coming down on that little extra folded blanket. I'm going to push my bolster away so it's just underneath the fronts of my ankles. And then you can turn your head to the side. If it really doesn't feel good to turn your head to the side, you can just bring your hands under your forehead so your neck can stay straight. So the knees, as you can see, are slightly bent. They're pointing straight down to the ground. My fronts and ankles are supported on pillows or that rolled blanket I demonstrated. And you can adjust the blankets that are underneath you. I've made one suggestion, but there's lots of different ways to approach that. Try to see if you need to make any other adjustments. It's going to be here for a couple seconds, so a couple minutes. So you want to take a little extra fuss time with yourself. So after you've made any adjustments, you need to feel a bit more comfort, to feel more supported, to be able to relax your body. Let your whole body fall towards the floor. Release all the effort in your legs, in your belly, and in your arms. There's no need to brace or to hold yourself up. Enjoy a few long exhales to allow your full body weight to drop into your blankets and down into the ground. Let your whole body fall into the blankets. There's no need to hold yourself up. If you have turned your head to one side, you might want to slowly lift your head and with the least amount of effort possible, turn your other cheek to the ground. Resettle. And as you exhale, remind yourself that there is no need to grip your thighs. You can have effortless legs. As you take this exhale, remind yourself there's no need to hold on in the belly. Let your belly rest towards the ground. The earth will hold you. Your lungs can rest on the earth. Your heart is free to rest on the earth. On each exhale, do a little less and allow the earth to hold you up a little more. Let your breath flow effortlessly in and out of your body. Remember the underwater plant. Let your spine ripple with the breath like it were an underwater plant, piece of sea kelp or something. As the ground holds you up, let your breath care for you inside. Relax more. Here, now, on the ground. And welcome your whole self here. into this moment. In this moment, what is keeping you from feeling more grounded? Is there a particular thought or sensation that's holding you back from letting go a little bit more towards the ground? Sometimes just allowing that thought or allowing that sensation, taking away the resistance, that's enough to soften so you can feel the ground a bit more. Is there something you could do with your posture or with your intention that would help you to feel more grounded in this moment? And then as you think about leaving this posture, what could you do in your everyday life to create more ease or sense of safety? Does anything come to mind? And then can I invite you, if you're not already on your back, to roll over onto your back. You've got that rolled up blanket or pillows that were supporting the fronts of your ankles that could now be supporting underneath your knees, the backs of your knees. So if this is like a mini Shavasana position. This little segment here is something that you can use as an instant reset anywhere in your day, from standing or otherwise. We're going to do it from lying down. So you still have a blanket underneath your spine, I think. And then you've got something under the backs of your knees, the pillow or the rolled blanket. You can have your eyes open or closed, whatever's more comfortable for you. And then can we bring back the imaginary hourglass? Now you're horizontal now, it's a little bit more imagination, but see if you can take 3 breaths, and on the exhales, let the sand sink down to your feet and into the ground. So 3 breaths on the hourglass meditation. And then after that, feel your feet. Let your feet expand, melt out into their footprints. And notice your inhale inflating your clear upper body. Allow the earth to hold you as you slowly shift your awareness into the space around you. So that was the hourglass imagery over 3 breaths. And then consciously acknowledging the connection of feet to earth. And then feeling the lightness in the chest as you breathe in. Once we feel welcome in our own lives and safe and grounded in our own bodies, we can start shifting our attention to being here rather than always there. So you might want to move your feet a little further apart from each other. Our knees are still bent now. We're pulling our knees into a bent position and placing the feet a little wider apart on the mat, maybe. We're going to start to come into a bit of a windshield wiper-like movement with the legs. No pressure to get your legs all the way to the floor or anything like that. I just wanted to use a little bit of conscious shaping of the breath to further help us land here. So as you inhale, your knees are facing the ceiling. And as you exhale, the knees drop to the right. Then inhale, bring your knees back up to center. And exhale, drop your knees to the left. Go back and forth a couple more times at whatever spontaneous rhythm of breath emerges. Experience your breath exactly as you discover it. Try to let your shoulders be quiet, your belly be quiet, your feet still spreading and connected to the ground as your knees rock gently from side to side. No need to push your legs all the way to the floor. Let them just do what they want to do. And then next time you point your knees to the right, could you add an extra 2 counts to the exhale? And then come up the regular amount on the inhale to center, and then add 2 more counts to the exhale to the left. Try that for a few breaths. So you're starting to slightly elongate the exhales. When I do this, I have to count it out in my mind. You may be doing something like a 4-second inhale and a 6-second exhale now. Then the next time you go to the right, can you add another 2 counts? So your exhale goes to double the length of your inhale. If you find you don't have enough breath to push out for those full 8 counts, for example, see if you can avoid rushing to the inhale and just kind of leaving a space there, a little bit of peacefulness. You're going back and forth, seeing what it feels like to have double the length of the exhale compared to the inhale. Then the next time your legs land towards the right, maybe let your legs settle onto a pillow or a blanket so you can leave the legs settled to the right while you re-land the rest of your body back towards the ground. Then, keeping with this kind of breath work we've been doing, continue with the exhales that are twice as long as the inhales. Or exhale. Yes, twice as long as the inhales. I did say that right. And then at the end of the exhale, gently contract the belly, gently giving a little internal hug to all your hard-working organs with that little bit of contraction at the end of the exhale. And then inhale, softening the belly, but your exhales double the length of the inhale. Do one more breath like that with knees pointing to the right. And then on your inhale, bring the knees back up to center, and we'll just pause here, knees pointing to the ceiling. And then ask yourself those questions again. What tends to prevent you from feeling grounded? What's preventing you from feeling more grounded right now? Is there anything that you could do in this moment, physically, mentally, emotionally, to help yourself feel more at ease, more comfortable, more grounded? And does any wisdom bubble up from internal sources, little knocking on your door? You know, girlfriend, if we were to do this, we'd feel more grounded tomorrow. We could make this change. We want to stay open-minded to doing things different, to changing. That keeps us vital and youthful. Then when you're ready, we'll drop the knees over towards the left. You may need to adjust some props so that your legs are comfortable to rest here for a few breaths. And we'll go back into inhaling for, say, 4 seconds, exhaling for 8 seconds, or whatever ratio seems to be working for you. And this is a bit more of an active shaping of the breath. We're being a bit more participatory on the exhales, especially after you think you're done exhaling. Pull your belly in slightly. Notice that there's always that little bit more air that you were unaware of, that you were not really circulating enough. But we're doing this in a very relaxed, very kind of, we're discovering it as we unfold into new treasures. It's nothing we're gripping or forcing or pushing. Take one more breath here, knees to the left. Exhale twice as long as the inhale, and then that little engagement of the belly at the end. Yeah. And then come back up to center. Land on the ground. As you land on the ground, welcome your breath. And then roll over slowly to your side, press up softly. I'd like to just make a small adjustment with our props. So you have this long rectangular fold blanket that we've been using on the ground, and fold it one more time so it's thicker. It's a little rectangle now. And I'm going to place that at the top of my mat. It's going to be like a pillow for me. I have to do a few adjustments with this rolled blanket. Turn it back into a long rectangular fold, and then fold it once more again. So I've got two blankets, same shape. I'm going to put that kind of in the middle of my mat. You may also want a pillow for between your legs. And if your space is cool, another blanket over top. But you can see I've got a space, another depression here. This is where my shoulder is going to fit in. I'm going to come down onto my side, let my shoulder be in the open space. And I'm going to have to fold this blanket again because I want to make sure that my head is propped at a very comfortable angle. So blankets have their own personalities, don't they? Sometimes you have to make adjustments. And then letting your knees rest on top of each other. I find for me to be at ease in my back and my neck, I need to have a pillow in between my knees and lower legs. So seeing if there's any other little adjustments that you could make that would allow you to be comfortable. And when you get settled here, you'll notice that there's a little bit of pressure on the underside of your ribs. The torso is being stimulated slightly. It's a little bit of different information here. So do the best you can to let your body land. To feel the points of your body that are in contact with the ground. And receive that embrace. Feel the solidity of the ground, the strength of the ground to receive the weight of your body. Land completely. Then welcome your breath. Let your body soften to receive the breath on the inhale. And let your body settle deeper to the ground as you exhale. Feel all the sand drain out on the exhale. So you're deeper to the ground. Notice the expression on your face. Be aware if you're holding or gripping around the eyes or the jaw. Notice the movements of breath. At the beginning of class, we placed hands on the body and we read the breath through the hands. Now notice the pressure of the blanket underneath your side ribs
And let that be like your hand reading your breath, following the swells and dips of your natural rhythm. Rest as deeply as you feel you can. Knowing that it's natural for the outside world to draw you away from focusing on your breath. But if you notice that that has happened, that you've been drawn away in your attention, gently reorient back to this inhale. Discover the breath as it unfolds. Just take a couple more breaths on this side. And then when it's time to move to the other side, try to stay as close to the ground as possible. So rather than just, bopping up and rushing because we've got to get the other side done now, try to figure out how to stay really close to the ground and make as few movements as possible as you switch around to the other side. And once you're on your other side, ask yourself if there was a way that you could land a little bit more completely. If there was a way that you could adjust the pillows or blankets on this side, it's slightly different, but then you're a different person on this side, so that's okay. Try the sands in the hourglass meditation from this position. How do you sense the sand settling down over the next 3 exhales? Letting your body land on the ground. Do you remember near the beginning of class, we visualized a place or time when you did feel really at ease and grounded, and you visualized what your face would look like, what your posture would look like, how you would feel? Do you think your facial expression and posture now, the sense of holding or resisting or gripping in your body, is that closer to how you felt or how you would imagine you would feel if you could relax? Or is your body more resistant, more armored? As I go through a restorative class, I'm always kind of amazed at the layers of resistance, the layers of tension that I lug around. So letting your body land. This is our key tonight to being able to soften, to being able to welcome and allow the breath to come home. And it's in this softness, in this welcome, that we heal. We allow the breath. We welcome the breath
just as it is. A couple more breaths on this side. And then I'd like to offer the opportunity to come back to a Shavasana position. If you'd rather do the constructed rest, that's fine. So probably all that will need to happen is you'll press up very gently from the floor, get rid of the blankets underneath you, come to lie on your back. And if you had a pillow between your knees on that last posture, just put it underneath the backs of your knees. And it's kind of a bare bones Shavasana position, not much excitement there, but you may also want a blanket over top to keep you warm. And then just come to stretch out on the floor. Into your Shavasana for today. Once you're settled on the ground, slowly slide your mind through your body and notice where your body meets the ground. On each out breath, let your weight drop down into the ground. Let the earth hold you. No need to grip. No need to clench. No need to prop yourself up anywhere. Let your body land on the ground. Let your breath fill your body. The ground holds you so your breath can fill you. Feel the earth holding you. Let your body land completely. There's nothing to do and nothing to get. You are done for now. There's no more work. One last time, I'd like to welcome imagination into our practice. Imagine being with someone who loves and supports you, maybe a close friend or a teacher or guide. Someone who really means it when they say, "Hey, sweetheart, you don't have to work so hard. You can relax. You could come relax with me. Just for right now. There's nothing to get, nowhere to go. It's okay not to work so hard." So imagine this dear one supporting you and guiding you, lighting the way, if you will, to what it feels like to let go, put down your burdens, to not work so hard. Someone who will support you as you decide to not work anymore now. Take an inhale and exhale like your work is all done now. Find the space at the end of your exhale. See if you can feel that space at the end of your breath. Even for only one breath, let yourself feel what it's like to be done. Now listen to your breath as it comes and goes. Feel your breath as it comes and goes. Listen to your inhale as it fills you. And your breath is that beautiful friend, that intimate friend and guide. Listen while your breath says to you, hey, come here and be with me. Let's be together. Let's be together here, now. Your breath as that supportive, grounded, easeful friend. Let's be together. Let's be here, now. If you have a little bit more time to communicate friendly way with your breath, stay right where you are. If it is time for you to move on with whatever's next for you today, see if you can keep this sensation of being under control, of easefulness, of my work is done for now, as you release the posture and start to come up to a seated position. As you slowly open your eyes and resist gravity a bit as you come up from the ground, see if you can still stay connected to that support from the ground. So you don't have to pick up all of the struggle. You can leave that down there. I'd like to share the sacred sound of Om to close our practice. I'm inhaling now. Om. Namaste. I'm going to stop the recording. So if anyone would like to unmute and visit.